Chapter 12 Manipulations, Myths, and a Composer's Spiritual Struggle are preliminary disclaimer. All the characters in this book are fictional. Every claim, regardless of its subject, is precisely that, a claim. Some are rooted in empirical facts, while others are pure imagination. My aim is to strike a balance between vision and reality, between fiction and fact, in such a way that readers can recognize aspects of themselves and continue exploring the multitude of ideas and imaginings presented here. The book does not aspire to preach any overarching truth. Instead, it questions accepted certainties. In true Socratic fashion, it leaves the rest to the reader. The Way Back tells the story of the composer's dramatic journey home from Oz to his hometown in Møre og Romsdal, Norway. The composer has written a work whose title suggests a naturally circular, elliptical form, a departure followed by a return. It becomes a complete circuit after confronting a grim reality at the journey's intended destination, the place that was originally its goal. The sight of the Wizard of Oz turns into a harsh encounter with an enchantment that has vanished. This discovery, this unmasking, profoundly alters the composer's perception of reality. Descent and Arrival is a powerful account, filled with illusions, imagined truths, assertions, and dogmas that have been deeply embedded in the composer's subconscious over the course of many decades. It recounts fairy tale-like stories of gigantic, invisible extraterrestrial beings ruling the world from the heavens. In ancient times, they supposedly appeared in visible form. Ancient writings discovered in the Middle East thousands of years ago tell of giants, a talking serpent, and a talking donkey. There is a burning bush that speaks. People walk on the surface of the water, and water is miraculously transformed into wine. The dead rise from their graves and stroll through the streets of Jerusalem, as though such things were perfectly natural. Today, all that remains are magnificent religious buildings adorned with icons on their walls. Belief in these gods, angels, demons, and ancient narratives is steadily fading. Yet they continue to live on in the human imagination. This vast house of cards has been creaking in its framework for a long time and is now on the verge of total collapse. Science established itself in civilization long ago, awakening society to an enlightened world in which knowledge, critical thinking, and rationality are allowed to flourish. Yet the composer's mind remains filled with the old tales of fantasy and myth instilled through family, childhood surroundings, and school. He therefore resolves to investigate further, to examine the evidence, listen to opposing voices, journey into the realm of global secular academia, and steel himself for what lies ahead. The experience proves brutal. Great beams of imaginary steel crumble and crash to the ground. What once gleamed with the radiant brilliance of apparent truth fades into a dull, dirty gray, exposed simply as fabrication and falsehood. The beliefs of childhood are examined with painstaking care, using the tools of epistemology. Socrates appears. Biologists, armed with a profound understanding of evolution, persuade through evidence and empirical facts. Formerly devout priests and biblical scholars abandoned faith for disbelief. Then, not least, the formidable chief atheist, Christopher Hitchens, storms onto the scene. Homesickness and the journey home. The return is long and arduous, a slow glide away from Oz. A descent where the cold winds from Trollheimen sting the cheeks, yet with the homeland finally visible on the distant horizon. The dense fog that once covered mother and fatherland has lifted, leaving only a few white tufts of cloud clinging to the highest peaks. The landing is perfect at the mountain farm of Voxeter in Møre og Romsdal. The composer is chilled to the bone and in a state of shock, yet nevertheless walks with a sense of relief along the familiar road home to his birthplace, the town of Molde, Norway.